thinking and going a day early to Jacksonville and kind of your plan for the couple days leading into the preseason game?
Yeah, it was really, regardless of where we were playing, Jake, I wanted to go in early, kind of have some team activities, if you will. There's some things that I think we can get down there and take a look at in Jacksonville, which I think the players will get have a nice experience doing. And that just gives us opportunities to do some team building exercises, if you will, which anytime you travel, that's team building enough. But I think just being around each other felt like week one was the right time to do that.
So when you say team activity, that's not practice, that's something off the field you guys are
We'll do walkthroughs down there and meet quite a bit, but there are some things that we'll do off the field.
Are you going to practice Wednesday and then go?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, practice Wednesday around noon and then get on the plane.
With David Bell and Anthony Walker and Williams being activated today, just how slow or how gradual are you expecting their integration into practice?
Yeah, got to be smart, Daryl. Obviously, they're not going to come in and get a bunch of reps just because they're all working through their own injuries or what have you. So we'll be smart. I think you'll see those guys an individual to start, maybe some on-air type drills, and then eventually get them in team drills.
Specifically with David Bell, he didn't really miss all that much time. So do you feel good about his ability to catch back up?
I do, Mary Kay. He's really intelligent. He had a nice spring for us. We moved him around the formation. He picked it up pretty quickly. So we're excited about getting him back out here. Like anything, I want him to catch up real fast, and I know he does too. So he's excited to be back out.
Could he play Jacksonville?
I think we'll see. With him coming off, I'll see how he does today, the next day, those type of things. But I'm not ruling him out.
Kevin, we talked to A.J. Green earlier. How do a young undrafted guy like that, I know he's been around now, but what did he do early to catch your eye?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember back, if I can, Jeff, to when we first got him. But I think AJ, the first thing you notice with him is just physical ability and physical size. He has length, has really good ball skills, and I think that shows up in practice. He's very competitive around the ball. And then I'd go back to special teams. I think right from the jump, he got in there in special teams, was making plays on almost every phase, and I think that's one way to certainly get the coach's attention.
The acclimation of Chris Odom to the team, what's that process like?
Yeah, I think with all of it, we added a receiver, added a DB, added a defensive end. You got to catch them up as quickly as you can. And the good news is all those guys are pros. They're all very intelligent. So they're full speed ahead with their coaches, diving into the playbook, and then see what they can handle. But it's really per person. You got to make sure that you meet each guy where they are.
What did you like about him specifically, Odom?
Yeah, I know he's productive down there in the USFL, so somebody that our scouts identified as a guy that we'd like to come in and see what he can do.
Michael Woods, is he going to miss some time?
He is going to miss some time.
Just something in practice?
Yeah, muscle injury, but it's something that affected him back in the spring, so we're just going to be smart.
The 40 time is so important when it comes to the player getting drafted. It seems to haunt them the rest of their career. At what point did A.J. Green prove to you that he plays faster than 4.6?
Yeah, I think we organizationally, I know I do, you look at that number, but that's not playing speed, and you have ways to measure playing speed nowadays, so there's so many guys that have played football for a long time who had quote-unquote bad 40 times. So I don't pay too much attention to it. Obviously, when a guy runs fast, you notice it, you can see it, but you want to see that show up in games, and you want to see that show up in how they play. Do they play fast? Do they react? Those type of things. So I'll be honest, I'm not even aware what AJ's 40 number is.
Kevin, kind of piggybacking off that, you sort of mentioned this. How much has the GPS tracking, I know that's gotten down to the college level, how much has that helped you sort of judge some of that game speed?
Yeah, I think it's good because I think it's uniform across players and it's uniform across the leagues that you have access to it. So you really can measure guys based on how fast they play. So that's with pads on and in the course of playing the sport, as opposed to at the combine in your underwear. It's a track drill, so it's just totally different. But the nice part is when you have all those numbers, it's uniform across the board.
How's Josh Dobbs been inside and out of?
Yeah, I thought he's done a great job. I've really enjoyed how he's handled himself, how he's done in the meeting room. I think he's on top of everything. He's had some really good moments out there on the practice field. Always have moments that you wish you could have back, like any quarterback. but I think he's doing a nice job.
With Stephen Weatherly going on IR, is that something where he'll need surgery on the knee?
Yes.
Yeah. How disappointing is? I mean, we didn't get to see a ton of him, but it's a guy you got.
Yeah, disappointed for Steve. You know, I have a history with him going back to the Vikings. Really, really solid person, just a rock solid person. So disappointed for him.
We asked so many questions about the defensive tackle group coming into camp and what do you have and whatnot. So what are your early impressions of that group now that you've had some padded practices under your belt here?
Yeah, honestly, it's really for every position. I'd say up and down. I think there's been some really good moments and things we have to clean up. I think when the pads go on, what you don't want is the technique to go out the window. And we work so many we work our drills so often. And what Coach Kiff is doing with our guys and repetition and making it so that it shows up in practice. Sometimes the pads go on and you lose a little bit of that. So there's definitely some refinement that needs to go on.
Jacob and Anthony, now that Anthony Walker is back, push each other pretty well for that Mike job?
Yeah, you know, the way I look at that, Mary Kay, is I like having a lot of good players. I think we have a ton of good players at that linebacker position. All of them are going to play. And those guys do push each other. They respect each other. They push each other. They enjoy playing together. They enjoy each other, off the field. They're friendly, that whole room I'm talking. So I think it's a great thing to have competition in a room that also recognizes that they all got each other's back.
Anything new
Couple
with
more?
Watson today?
I'm sorry?
Anything new with Watson you want to tell us?
No.
Yesterday in practice, Jacoby went down. It looked like you said something. Say that. When you went inside.
That had nothing to do with Jacoby going down. That had nothing to do with Jacoby. I'll keep that between me and the team.
Kevin,
just with David, I mean, I know we talk about how important this time is for rookies. Just what has he been doing to kind of, stay involved mentally in the little David Bell?
David Bell.
Yeah.
So anybody who's injured, Ashley, they're in every single meeting, they're at every single walkthrough, so they're getting those mental reps, but you're not getting the physical reps. So much of that is making sure that you're diligent about being out here at walkthrough and knowing what play is going on, standing next to the coach, talking through the adjustments maybe on that given play. So there's no secret to that one. It just takes a lot of time.
The question about Kate, I know you like questions about your rookie kicker. Yesterday, saw him hit the top of the left upright from 53 yards, which is not something you see a guy do every day. I remember when Janikowski came out, the Raiders didn't hesitate to let him, depending on the situation, kick those long 60-yard tries and things like that. Is that something that you and Mike Prefer have talked about as far as, what type of range you'd be willing to try and stretch his leg?
Yeah.
With as strong as it is?
I don't know that we're there yet, Daryl. Obviously, we're excited about Cade, and he's done a nice job out here. But this is a process, so we got to get through the preseason, get into the season and see where he is. But we're excited to have him, and obviously in those moments when you need a guy, you're going to want a guy that can come through for you. So that's why we drafted him where we drafted him, but also understanding that he's a rookie. This is a process, and we got to make sure that we respect that and understand that throughout that time.
Kevin, I'm sure you love them all, but what's your favorite drill that you can do when you have pads on?
Yeah, I think just a team drill, when you get both sides off the field and you send plays in and it's a longer drill, that's the closest thing that look to a game. So much of what we're doing is getting ready to play these games, and those individual drills are about refining your skill and being great at fundamentals and techniques that then have to show up in these practices, and then they got to show up in games. But when you have a team drill, you get to see how the guys can react to a play coming into the huddle, a defense coming into the huddle quickly, and getting through the mental checklist of where I need to be, my alignment, my assignment technique, and then can I maintain my techniques throughout that play? Can I maintain my technique throughout 6 plays? So I think as we start to get into team drills where we move the football more, I think that's all about getting us ready for ultimately what matters the most, which is the games.
Have you done any 2-minute yet? Are you
I was waiting for Tony to ask that. It's
going another direction.
coming tomorrow.
Live goal line running drill.
We won't do it.
Because of safety?
Yeah. We haven't done it in the last couple of years. We'll go through it. We'll have an installation period of that, but we won't do it live.
2 minutes tomorrow?
Yes.
Going back to Cade real quick, because he's your only kicker, will you be be a little more selective with when you kick in preseason games, as far as when go for it more just to kind of preserve his leg?
He's young, I think he'll be okay, but it depends. It depends. Do we feel like the offense needs the work in that situation? Do we feel Cade needs the work? So it's not going to be an absolute. We'll just kind of deal with it by each situation.
It's one thing to see distance on tape, right? I got to imagine it's a little different to see it in person. I mean, I was just impressed with his distance. I mean, his field goals aren't like just clearing the crossbar. I mean, they're getting through pretty comfortably.
As long as they get through. He's done everything we've asked him to do since we got him. He's a rookie. He's going to have some growing pains. He's not going to be perfect right away. He needs to work at his craft. So I'm obviously aware of that.